Welcome back to Wake Up America Weekend. Shooting suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, he is now in custody. Tyler Robinson, Utah man, was called in by the authorities by his own father Thursday night. For more, we are joined by former U.S. Secret Service Barry Donadio and former Secret Service agent and former DHS senior advisor Charles Marino. And of course, our special guests, Rob and Doug, may be joining us a little later. Now, this arrest happened so fast with the suspect who was arrested near Mount Zion, about 250 miles away from Orem. Listen in to FBI Director Kash Patel on how quickly this all went down.
In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period.
Yeah, so I guess my question to you, Barry, is what do you make about how well federal and local authorities worked together to capture this man? It seems like things worked pretty smoothly and succinctly.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I think they did a great job. There's an enormous amount of information that they have to process. It's not an instantaneous thing to sort out 1,000 pieces to a puzzle that's laid on the ground and put them all together. They had to scour through tons of video evidence and then, finding the rifle, comparing the DNA evidence, and it's not instantaneous. It takes time to do all the comparisons or even to figure out if the person they're looking for is the correct person. I can tell you from the surveillance video that was shared, it looks like college security was really on top of it right away, panning the video and watching him leave the roof. He's lucky he didn't get caught right there in the initial moments. I just think they didn't get a police call quick enough over to him before he left the campus and he was able to escape.
Now, this was a premeditated murder. It was the suspect used Discord. That is a discreet chat room for gamers, essentially, to plan out this attack. Governor Spencer Cox spoke about this. Let's take a listen.
Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets.
All right, look, what I don't understand here is how, when a reporter asked Governor Cox after the press conference if there was another suspect, if anyone else is culpable in this, and he said he seems to have acted alone, there is going to be no other arrests. How is this roommate who had all these messages how is he not an accomplice in this, Charles?
Yeah, it'll be checked off as missing some of these signs that the suspect put forth prior to the shooting. But you're right. I agree with you. There needs to be accountability. I'm sick and tired of always hearing after one of these events that law enforcement will go back and check out social media where they typically find all this concerning language or a manifesto. Social media companies need to step up here as well, too. If they can tell me what I'm thinking about buying tomorrow, then why can't they get out ahead of this and report it and work more closely to law enforcement? It's still a significant gap right now. The one difference in this case, which is not always the case, is that we've got a live suspect here, right? That's not always the case. Historically, they'll take their own lives or they'll create a scenario where law enforcement needs to use deadly force. So in this case, the live suspect is there. I highly consider that the defense attorneys for this suspect will try and get the death penalty removed from this case. and have him cooperate with law enforcement, where they can learn more about exactly what these motives were. Were there any accomplices? Because somebody always knows something about these acts.
Such a good point. Now, Barry, we know the suspect was called in by his own father, and during that investigation, the shooter's family said he recently became more political and even mentioned Charlie Kirk by name, saying he disliked him. In this kind of situation, how should a family respond to signs like this? I mean, obviously, it's hard to hold a family culpable, and they wind up calling them in. But what are the signs that the family should be looking for, and what should they do? 30 seconds to you.
I think just extremism and threats of violence. We're all being charged by political turmoil here. So I just think it's time for parents to sit down and have a conversation, even with their adult children, and say, hey, we may all disagree, but violence is not the way. And obviously they saw signs, and I think the father did the right thing by turning him in.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you there. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.